If you've ever wondered how India became the world's largest democracy, then you have to look at its neighbor, Pakistan, because it was only after defeating them in the First War that India could take the title of the world's largest democracy. So, we decided to tell you the untold story of the 1947 Indo-Pak War. That's coming up right now. Our story begins with the last days of the British Raj. You see, Britain had ruled India for over 200 years, and in 1947, they were fed up with the constant unrest. So they decided to leave. And not just leave, they also decided to divide the subcontinent into two pieces. They would be gone and you can keep your cow. And that's how India and Pakistan were born. But this division did not go down well with everyone. In fact, no one was happy with it because the British had other plans. After leaving the subcontinent, they wanted to make Ceylon, which is now Sri Lanka, their colony. But to do this, they needed Indian support. The British also wanted India to remain a buffer state between Soviet Russia and China. The British believed that if they left India as one country, then it would be easier for them to control these things. But India had other plans. It wanted Kashmir, which would have given them access to the sea. And let's not forget about the ego tussle between the two countries. India wanted to prove that it can stand on its own. As for Pakistan, well, they wanted to prove that they are the true representative of Islam. But hey, who cares about all that? At the end of the day, there's only one trophy that matters, the winner's trophy. And both countries wanted to win it. So in October 1947, India struck first. Its army moved towards Kashmir and soon captured most of it. This was a worrying sign for Pakistan because if India took Kashmir, then what would stop them from taking the rest of Pakistan? Now remember, Pakistan was not ready to accept defeat so easily. They had a secret weapon, the tribal militias. These groups were fiercely independent and would fight anyone who tried to boss them around. And guess who was trying to boss them around? India. So these militias were perfect for Pakistan's plan. Pakistan made a deal with them. They promised the tribesmen that if they helped them capture Kashmir, then they would help them get independence from the British Raj. The tribesmen agreed, but not without a catch. They wanted a share of the loot. Now we don't know what the loot was, but if I had to guess, it was probably some good old-fashioned real estate. With the help of these militias, Pakistan managed to push India back. Both sides kept pushing each other until they reached a standstill at this line, which we now call the line of control. But while Pakistan was holding on to this line, they couldn't really attack India. You see, the Pakistani army was still under the control of the British officers, and since they were still under training, Pakistan could only dream of attacking India. For the time being, they decided to focus on something else, something much closer to home, Hyderabad. You see, Hyderabad was a princely state, which means it was sort of like an independent country within India. The ruler of Hyderabad wanted to join Pakistan, so India decided to teach him a lesson. On September 6, 1948, India launched Operation Polo. Within 2 weeks, they had captured Hyderabad. This victory made India very powerful. Now they could shift their focus to Kashmir. But before that, they had to solve another problem. You see, the British had another colony nearby called Goa, and Portugal was eyeing it. So India decided to act fast, and on December 19, 1947, it launched Operation Vijay. Within a few hours, Goa was liberated, and now it was time for Kashmir. India knew that it wouldn't be able to win a full-scale war against Pakistan, so it had a different plan. India started supporting the Kashmiris who were fighting against the rule of the Maharaja of Kashmir. Soon, the Indian army joined the fray and pushed the Pakistani proxies back. And that's when the United Nations intervened. It asked India to pull back its troops to the line of control. India agreed. Now, this may sound like a setback for India, but in reality, it was the perfect outcome. See, India had managed to capture most of Kashmir, including the region of Ladakh. And as for the rest, well, they had a bunch of proxies who could do the job for them. And the best part was that the international community was none the wiser. In fact, the UN was so impressed by India's restraint that it passed a resolution asking Pakistan to do the same. But while the world was busy praising India, Pakistan was making a comeback. In Punjab, they had managed to push the Indian army back to the Radcliffe Line, which is basically the border between India and Pakistan today. But as soon as the UN asked India to pull back, Pakistan attacked. The thought was that if India withdrew from Kashmir, then Pakistan would march in and take it over. But India was ready for them. It had deployed its forces along the border, and soon the Indian Air Force was bombing Pakistani positions. Realizing that they were outnumbered, Pakistan asked for a ceasefire. Initially, India refused, but later agreed to the terms. Soon enough, the world applauded India once again, calling it the underdog of the war. But here's the thing. The war was never really fair. Throughout the war, India had the upper hand. The Indian soldiers were better trained, they had more resources, and to top it all off, they had the blessings of the international community. But despite all this, they couldn't beat Pakistan. In fact, they never even went on an offensive. All they did was defend their territory. So who really won this war? Well, nobody. You see, both countries gained some land and lost some land. In the end, it was the people who suffered. Millions of people were displaced and countless lives were lost. Honestly, if you think about it, the war wasn't about land or resources or even ideology. It was about ego. Both countries wanted to prove themselves to the world. They wanted to show that they were stronger than the other one. Today, both countries claim victory. India says it defeated Pakistan, and Pakistan says it forced India to a standstill. But maybe the real story is about how this war changed the subcontinent forever. It led to the creation of Bangladesh, the rise of religious fundamentalism and cross-border terrorism. Even today, both countries are nuclear rivals. One wrong move, and the whole world could be blown to smithereens. So, who really won this war? Well, maybe it was Pakistan, because if they hadn't fought India in 1947, then India would not have become the world's largest democracy. After all, democracy cannot survive without an opposition. And I say this because the fate of many countries hang in the balance. After the partition, many countries got independence. Places like Ghana, for example, they became independent from the Dutch, Indonesia from the British, and Nigeria from the British as well. Many countries across Africa got independence from European powers. Today, almost every country in Africa is independent. But how did this happen? Well, it happened because of one man, Kwame Nkrumah. He was the leader of Ghana, and he was the first sub-Saharan African to earn a PhD. Not just any PhD, mind you, but a PhD in sociology from the University of Pennsylvania. Now, when Nkrumah returned to Africa, he began campaigning for independence from the Europeans. His efforts paid off on March 6, 1957, when Ghana became independent. Nkrumah was hailed as the father of African independence. But here's the thing, he didn't do it alone. He had an entire team of highly educated individuals who helped him run the country. And not only were they highly educated, they were also extremely hardworking. You see, when someone works hard, it's easy to spot their work. Look around you. If your house is clean and organized, you can bet that your mother worked hard. If your school has good grades, you can bet that your teachers worked hard. Similarly, if a country is developed, you can bet that its leaders worked hard. The point is that hard work leaves clues behind. It's not difficult to find. All you need is some basic research skills. For example, take a look at the GDP of Singapore. It's a tiny island with hardly any natural resources, yet it's one of the richest countries in Asia. Do you know why? Because its leaders worked hard. They invested in infrastructure, education, and technology. They created a business-friendly environment and promoted free trade. The result? A thriving economy. If you want to learn more about how these countries work, then you should check out our special series called How I Built This. We talk about everything from the US economy to the economy of Japan. And guess what? All these videos are available for free. And that's not all. If you subscribe to our channel, then you'll get access to 15,000 plus hours of premium content. You'll get to watch our entire library of documentaries and exclusive series. And don't worry, we will not spam your email. Plus, you'll be joining a community of over 7 million learners from 150 countries.